Hi, so in this video we are going to see how we can just scrape the data with the help of Apify scraper, and let me show you the data which I scraped with the help of this workflow with n8n. So here is the data. So it's come over here into the Google Sheet, and we only need one input, which is basically the company name itself, and with the help of this company name we are going to scrape the founder, co-founder, CEO, whatever, and then the person name, which you can with the help of that you can send personalized emails or whatever you want to do. We are getting the email of that person, the website URL of the company, the LinkedIn URL of this person, and the company LinkedIn. So we have all the information over here, and along with that we are also scraping some other information which are uh, optional, but if you need that you can also scrape this data, because you will get all this data along with whatever the other stuff. So if you want you can put them into your Google Sheet. So the profile picture is over here. If you click on this, so it will just show you this profile image. We are also scraping that, the location, the country where company is located, the followers, connection, and the company founded date, and the company size along with the company industry. So we have so many fields over here. Let's start this. So here is the n8n workflow over here. Let me explain this, but let's delete this information so I can run this in front of you all, so you can get the idea like how it's going to work. So we basically need uh, what I did. Let me delete this. Yeah, here it is. So we do have a company name over here. So with the help of this company name, we obviously have to create these columns inside Google Sheet, because we need them in order to connect our data over here. So whatever fields you needed, just put the name over here in the columns. And now we do have the Figma is a company name. You can just put all the company names over here which you want. So for now it's just one, and this will work perfectly. So the company name is over here, and now let's jump back into n8n. So the interesting part is over here. So we basically have the trigger over here. So if I click on this and execute workflow, so this n8n workflow will start. But there are so many other workflows over here, which nodes over here basically, which we have to look into in order to understand like how this is working step by step, because this is going step by step and till the end where we are just updating the Google Sheet. So the first is get rows in sheet. So this basically means we are getting the sheet rows over here. So just connect your Google Sheet over here and then click on get rows, and we have to just select the document over here. The name of is the Google Sheet is 2 tasks. Whatever your name is, just select that from the drop down, and from the list you have to select this, because this is sheet 1. You can also rename this from here. This is also the main sheet name, so you can also rename them whatever you want, and then you can just pick them from here. So once that is done, everything is now perfect. And here once you click on execute, you will see like, hey, this is the row number. Basically this is the previously done, so let me just do this again. So let me unpin all these, because I have just used this previously. Unpin pin basically save the data of that node, so we don't have to run it again and again, because I was testing every single node. So let me unpin all of these so we can just rerun this with the new fresh data. So I think so that's great. So over here now we have the Google Sheet, and this Google Sheet is now going to get the data. This is the data Figma, and now this will get the company name over here, and the rest columns will be empty because we have no data over here. We have to scrape this. So let's click on execute step. We are going to do it step by step, so we can see like, hey, this is extracting this information, this is extracting that, and the flow should flow properly. So yeah, over here we can see this. This is the row number 2 row, because this is the row 2. So the first one is the header one. So we get the row 2 with the company name, and the rest of fields are all empty. I think so this is clear till here. Now the next thing is Apify. So you can just click on this plus button, and same goes for Google Sheet. For adding any node, just type over here Apify, and if you are doing it for the very first time, then you have to install the Apify. By clicking on Apify, you can click on this install button and it will be installed. Once it is installed, then we are going to go with the run actor. Here you can see down below run actors. So we have to click on this run and actor, and the second one which we will be using is get dataset items. So these are the two which we are using for this scraping process. So yeah, so for starting a process we will go with run an actor, and then for getting the dataset information we will go with this get dataset items. I think so this is clear. Now let's jump back into the workflow. So this is the Google search result scraper. So why we are using Google search result scraper over here? So basically we have only the one thing, which is the company name, and with the company name we cannot scrape data from the LinkedIn and all these things. We do need some kind of URL in order to scrape the data from LinkedIn, and the rest of the flow which I will show you, like how we are just scraping all the information. So for now we do need the uh, details of the with the help of this company name. So what we are doing over here, so in this, click over here an Apify account. So you do need an API key. So how you will get an API key? Go to apify.com, and over here click on this setting, and in the setting you will click on this API and integration, and this is your API key. Just copy this. Right now I'm on the free plan, but it's still working perfectly. And in the billing, just copy this API key from here and come back over here into the API. Click on this edit button, enter your API key and click save, and your connection will be successful. By the way, you can also see all your details over here in the billing, and here you can see like the previous runs I have made so far, and in the free plan we get around $5 credit, so you can use that, and you can also track how many you have used so far. So that's it. Now let's jump back into n8n, and here we are doing what? So here in the actor source I have selected recently used actor, but you will click on the Apify store actor because you are doing this for the very first time, so there is no recently. For me it is already done, so I can see this in the recently used actor. In this way, if you click on Apify store, because you will see bunch of them, and these actors can also be seen over here in the Apify website. If I click on home, uh, maybe over here in the actors, basically not in the home. So these are the overall actors, uh, but I want to go back to the main store. Yeah, here is the store. So click on go to store, and here you can see I have connected these two. So we are seeing this like, hey, the actors total runs 2, and for the Google search scraper we have done around 5, and it is showing succeed. So this is just showing the data, the history of our data. So click on go to store, and here is the overall store. So here there are multiple scrapers, and you can choose them based on the number of people used and the ratings they have. So it means the more successful this scraper will be if you use this and that. So over here we basically have to search. So this is what it means, Apify store actors. So if you click on this, then from the list here you will be able to see the scraper. So just search this Google search scraper, Google search result scraper, and once you search this, click on this Apify / Google search scraper. So this is the recipe basically which we are going to use over here. And once this is done, then we are just putting this JSON over here, like, hey, this is the query json.company-name, and where it is coming from, it is coming from our Google sheet. Just drag this and put it over here. So, and this is green, it means like it's a dynamic field coming from the Google sheet over here. So queries, we have the company name, then site is linkedin.com. So what we are basically doing, we are searching this on Google, like, hey, this is Figma, and we want the LinkedIn URL of Figma. So this is the way through which we will be getting the LinkedIn URL from Google. So once we get this LinkedIn URL, then now this data in the Google search scraper, let me run this node and let me show you the data. So it will take a few seconds because it is now scraping the data from the Google search result, and once the search is performed, then we will get this data into the collecting data basically from this run actor node. So yeah, this is done. If I click on this, here in the output we will see in the right side over here. So this is the output, and we do have some bunch of information over here, like a lot of information is over here. So now we can't see any data clearly, like where is the LinkedIn URL, we cannot see that directly over here. But the thing is, in order to access that, because it is hidden somehow, so we will get a new node over here, which is basically dataset. So this dataset basically take the dataset ID from this previous node, from this Google previous node, and we put that dataset ID over here, and with the help of this we basically scrape the data which is hidden currently, and this is visible, and then we further continue the process. Now let's just find the dataset ID. So you have to scroll down over here and you will find the dataset ID somewhere in the bottom. You have to search for that, and once found, then you can just drag and drop over here. Here it is. This is the default dataset ID. If I click on this, here you can see SE5X. So this is the dataset ID. Just drag and drop, and here it will appear the default dataset ID. So now we have connected this previous Google search script node with this dataset node, and now we can execute this, and it will just give us the data which was initially hidden over here. Now here we can see the Google search URL, the loaded URL, blah blah blah, the Figma URL, blah, and so many URLs are there. And now this data will further go next, because we only need LinkedIn URL. That's the only thing which we want to do, and we don't need so many URLs over here which we are currently seeing. So now let's leave this on to our next node, which will be responsible for extracting the data. So we only need LinkedIn URL for now in order to extract the rest of the data. So to do that, we will just click on this extracting LinkedIn URL, and over here this is the 41 lines of code, and this code is basically responsible to scrape all the data from the previous node, dataset node, which basically reveals the data. And now we have so many URLs, and now this code is basically responsible to clean the code. So to do that, we will just click on this execute step, and this function node, which is basically a custom code over here, now it is returning the person name and the LinkedIn URL. And why we are getting the person name and LinkedIn URL? Because we have written this thing in over here in the code, like, hey, we want the field name, the person name, whatever the person name is which appear in the Google. Basically we can exclude this person name over here. It's upon you. You can just change that line of code, and these are so many lines of code over here, so you can just change that, and you can just pick the LinkedIn URL only to scrape the LinkedIn URL from the previous node. But we are also getting this, but we are not feeding this or relying on this Google search, because the main search we did for is the LinkedIn URL, and we need that. And with the help of this LinkedIn URL, then we can easily scrape the rest of the data. So over here, I think so things are clear. Now we got the LinkedIn URL over here, and then we can feed this into run actor again, because now this time we are going to use the next node, which I can show you over here in the actors. So basically we use this actor for scraping the company name onto Google and scraping the LinkedIn URL of that company. And once we found that URL, not basically the company URL, basically we scraped the person URL, the CEO, the owner, whoever it is. So we scraped that URL over here, and once this is scraped, then further we are going to scrape the next thing, which is with the help of this node, mass LinkedIn profile scraper with email, because we do need an email address. So for doing that, we have to choose this model over here, and you can see the costing over here. So keep that thing in your mind. So now let's scrape the data. All you have to do is just click on this, or maybe you can just copy this thing, and this thing, basically this is the URL over here, LinkedIn profile scraper by Dave Fion. So just copy this, and you can also search this into the Apify store over here, and or you can also paste this directly. This is it, and you can also directly paste it over here into the next node, which is scraping LinkedIn profile. And over here what we are doing, basically from the list, just select that. This is the same thing. I think so we don't have to waste time over here. So in the profile URL, we can just put the URL over here. This URL is coming from here, and we don't need any person name. Just leave this. Drag and drop the LinkedIn URL over here, and once that is done, click on execute, and now this will scrape all the LinkedIn information. And this may take a few seconds because we are scraping so many fields now. This node is basically responsible for scraping all the data. That's it. Now again we can see we are unable to see any data, like the data we need, like target, title, blah blah blah, so many details, because the data is still in the is hidden. And now we will just reveal this data with the help of a new node, which is dataset node. So let's do that. So over here we have the collecting data from LinkedIn, and we'll click on this, and over here we will just select get items dataset. Apify account is already connected, and we do need the dataset ID, which you can easily get from the very bottom over here. Just find out the dataset ID and drag and drop. Yeah, here it is, default dataset ID. Just drag and drop over here. You can see this name, this ID over here, and this ID. So just drag and drop this default dataset ID, and it will now reveal the information which was present in our previous node. So here it is. So we have the LinkedIn URL over here, first name, last name, full name. By the way, I have taken the first name and last name separately. You can also type this thing into the next node, which is function node, and it will also get this first name and last name all separately. By the way, I just get the full name all together, so you can also do whatever you want in the function code. Headline, connections, blah blah blah, so many fields are over here, the URL, so we get all the fields over here in this scraper. Now the very next node is the function node, and this function node is basically responsible to extract all the data, and this code will now extract all this data basically, and it will just give us the clean output. Let me execute this. Here it is. So we get all the fields which we needed. So I need the website, domain, person name, blah blah blah, and all these details are over here. And now this data further goes into Google Sheet, and now the next node is Google Sheet. Here we want to update a row. We have to just click on map each column manually. We want to match the column based on company name, because we do have a company name over here, Figma, and our scraper has also scraped the company name. So you can find these details over here, company name. Yeah, here it is. So just drag and drop company name over here, and we want to see like, hey, company name in my Google Sheet and company name over here by the scraper is matching, so it means we have to update this row. So this is doing that. Just drag and drop all these field, target title, whatever the title you want, the job title, drag and drop, website, just drag and drop. And here you also found, you can see the email over here. So email found, so here is the email, just drag and drop. So this is super simple, and that's it. And now you have just click on execute step, and once you click on execute, this data will be saved over here into Google Sheet. Here it is. So the node is run perfectly, and here it is the data. So the data is over inside our Google Sheet, and we can clearly see the data over here. So this is very easy process, and you can replicate the same thing for multiple scraping for multiple companies, and all these can be done super simple. Like, this is the flow. All you have to do by adding one loop over here somewhere in the middle, which will just give one URL at a time, and it will scrape that, update that, and then it will come back, and it will take the new URL, and then it will come back. And you can also set a new filter over here, maybe like, hey, if the email is found, or if the row is found with all the details, run only that and leave the rest which are already done. You can also do that, or you can just come up with all the company names which you want to scrape, and you can run this with the loop over here, which will just give one URL at a time, and this whole process will be done, updated. Then the next row will be there, it will be run, and you can also play with loops over here and for multiple things. So that's it. I think so you can replicate the same thing, and I hope so you will like this video, and make sure to subscribe. And if you want this workflow, you can just leave an email to me, and I will send the JSON to you. Take care, goodbye.